I love these characters probably more than any other characters that I've ever worked with because they feel like friends and they feel like family. And it was sad when the first movie was finished. I actually felt depressed that I wouldn't be working with these characters again because a lot of my career was working on shows like The Simpsons where you had a chance to kind of build those relationships through episodes about the family. So it was that I was really craving to have that kind of experience with these characters again, where we got to know more about them.
Vanellope has been complaining that her game is rote. She knows all the tracks by heart, and so Ralph goes in there, creates a new track, which Vanellope takes, and while she takes that new track, in the real world, a kid is playing the game and thinks she's unlocked a new level, but then Vanellope is steering from within. This kid is trying to control the wheel from without, and she snaps the wheel off of the game, breaking Sugar Rush. And Mr. Litwak then comes in, tries to put it back on, and he makes it worse, as he does. And the game is broken and is going to be thrown out, basically scrapped for parts.
Well, it took a long time to realize the internet because it is a very abstract idea, and we kind of went into it thinking, oh, it is an abstract thing. It's a cloud. It's radio waves or something that has no kind of earthly, bounds to it. And a lot of our IT guys that we talked to about it would say, like, no, it's a very physical thing. You need to kind of see some of these server farms that literally hold the internet. We toured several of them, and they are skyscrapers. One here in LA that's a skyscraper packed, with servers and cables and stuff. And that was really what kind of inspired us, just this packed world that started as something small and now keeps growing and growing, and the outer layer being the most up-to-date stuff.
I'm thrilled with a lot of the way the internet city looks because it's so vast, and I love just studying the frames, what's in the frame. But the world I'm kind of happiest with, I think, is Slaughter Race because it's this blighted, hyper-real sort of hellhole in theory. But then I think we were able to find a way to make it really appealing, both from Shank and her crew, and then also just some of the silly, more absurd things in that world. I love the lighting design of it, that it's sort of this desaturated kind of bleach bypass looking weird, again, it's like a hellscape, but it's very appealing to me. And very unusual, I think, and I'm really proud of that world.
Well, when they get to the internet, Ralph and Vanellope both kind of have the same feeling of it being overwhelming, but we see that Ralph doesn't quite fit in the way that Vanellope does. She's more about the size of the little net users that are kind of the online representations of us as avatars as we use the net. And Ralph is always a little too big to fit in the vehicles that they travel in, to use any of the technology that's there. So he's kind of holding it a bit more at arm's length, where Vanellope feels like, oh, I really love this place.
Yes is an algorithm at a site called BuzzzTube, and she sees something in Ralph that knows that he may have what it takes to be a viral sensation. And she is all about change. She's constantly, like the internet, changing. Her costume changes, her hair changes, and she becomes kind of a guide to the internet for Ralph, both the good things about it and the bad things.
Well, Shank is a boss character, a non-player character in this online game called Slaughter Race, which is very, very different from Sugar Rush. But upon seeing it, Vanellope thinks this is a really cool game. The only thing about it is that these characters here seem to be very dangerous and violent. But when Vanellope gets to know Shank, she realizes this is a very kind person. She's very cool, but she's not as mean as she kind of projects. She's actually very wise. And to Vanellope, she becomes kind of this cool big sister type that is counter to Ralph's kind of bumbling, goofy big brother type. This movie, the main theme of this movie is about change, specifically change as it relates to a friendship. And we wanted to portray in this film a friendship that is going through a moment of profound change, and show that just because people sometimes move away, or that their aspects take them in different directions, that they can still be best friends. That you don't need to be in close proximity to someone to still be a good friend to them.
The princess sequence came about as a joke. In the very beginning, it was like, what if Ralph and Vanellope end up at a Disney-owned site and somehow meet the princesses? Ha ha ha. And from that, though, we remembered, well, Vanellope is a princess, so maybe this could be an important piece of her story. And so, as funny as the scene is, which I hope it is, without having met them, Vanellope would not end up where she does at the end of the film. The princesses help her really follow her dreams and listen to what her heart is telling her, which, again, in a coming-of-age story, you need, which for Vanellope, that's what this is, you need those voices, encouraging you, helping you find your way.
Amazing to work with them, and very emotional, to be the filmmaker that was inviting them back to the studio, getting them behind the mic again to play those iconic characters that some have not played for many, many years now, and very, very satisfying to introduce a lot of these actresses to our new generation of animators at the studio, who were inspired to become animators due to seeing movies like Little Mermaid and Aladdin, in the second golden age in the 90s. So it felt really satisfying to facilitate that.